or good afternoon, or good evening, or good night, depending when are you watching this video. Um, but more likely, good afternoon is made for a class right at the afternoon. So I hope all of you are doing well. My paper is a little bit smaller than usual. Let's see. But you could use a 9 by 12 or 8.5 by 11. I have here um, like a 7 by 9, something like that. Um, but it's the same format. I'm going to put it um, as a portrait. We're not going to do a portrait, sorry. The format, the paper is going to be vertical, which is called in a portrait way. And it's another and last monochromatic painting in which we use one color. We're going to use orange, and orange carries yellow, and orange carries red. We're not going to use pure red or pure yellow, but our orange at times in the painting may have, um, will look more yellowish, or will be an orange that looks more reddish or dark, but it's all orange. Okay, and that will make the painting a warm, full of warm color, a warm color which is orange. Warm colors are colors that um, promote or brings to us a warm feeling, and cold colors will be colors that promote uh, a cold feeling. So cold colors will be something like blue, um, okay, maybe a little bit of green, but blue, white, um, and then warm will be red, orange, yellow, kind of like fire or a sunset. Great. Let's get started. I got my paper, color, watercolor paints, and we need brushes. We're not gonna use pencil or pen. I have a couple of brushes, but two will do. But I'll start obviously with one, and I'm gonna clean this here because the last time we used this, last time I used this, I was using a lot of green, and I don't want green. I want only orange this time. So I have also paper towels, but you could use paper towels or napkin, either way. Um, okay, that way our color doesn't get contaminated. Perfect. Let's get started. I'm gonna do a few mountains. We've done this before, in which right here in the middle there are different tones, so lighter to darker, maybe 3 layers or four, and then to the right, large trees coming up, maybe a four plane here, and then a sun. So I'm wetting my brush and then getting started my orange. If you notice, I get orange, but then I add right now a lot of water because I'm going to start with this first one right in the middle, very light. And to make it light, I have to spread it. I think that's enough space for the next one, because there's as much as you can go down where the other mountain is going to be. A little tiny darker. Okay, you see one, two, and then the third, moss orange. I could make it even more emphasized by adding a little bit of red. So maybe I'm gonna have to do that. And now I'm gonna make it kind of vanish. Yeah, that's pretty good vanishing down. I know in the camera it looks a little more yellowish than excuse me, I see it here on my own painting. But yeah. Okay, so let me continue making this same tone all over down here. Okay. That's good. I think this is good. It's very wet, which is great. And I'm going to bring this same kind of tone up here, coming down, but I'm going to leave this here as I come closer to the mountains. I'm going to leave it as the paper white. Okay. And make sure to grab as much water as you need to make this effect work. So if your painting is very opaque, um, opaque means just pure. Like the painting, when you grab it, it is wet because you activated it, but it's not too wet to the point of what we need. We need it to be um, very wet so we can diffuse it, so we can create the diffusing effect. I have to make it vanish right about here. So my paper is getting very wet, but I'll leave it like this. I think I'll leave it like this. The paper is giving up a little. Okay. I said I was gonna do like a plane down here, which just represents a flat surface. So I draw a line. See, that represents that there's a plane here. There's something flatter or more clear. I could always, like I said, add a little bit of more reddish. There you go. Okay. Now I'm gonna bring, just like when I started, orange here, very rich. And I'm going to add more water next to it. So to my right of the palette here is more wet water. And I'm gonna add some red. So red I separated up here, and when I need it I'll add it according to how much red I will need. I gotta clean my brush now. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, what we're going to do is we're going to make about, I don't know, 3 or 4, 5 trees. Start with the first one a little bit reddish. And they're gonna be mostly towards the right, so the line goes from down here up. And then a branch maybe comes out here. Like that. Let's do another one. Remember that the lower, the down here, you see this one to my right is a little lower. That means it's closer to us. Have to maybe use a lot of red to come across all of this area. Let's do another one. I have to retouch this bottom part later because this right now is too wet. And by being too wet, um, the it's not well defined, right? The color quickly tries to diffuse. So three maybe here, third one. Sometimes I turn my brush a little as I go, as I move. I'm turning my brush with my fingers to make sure all that paint comes out on the brush. And then a fifth, maybe lower. And going over and over. The line allows me to enrich that color. Okay, so very lightly, which is with water, I may do a few back here, but you see, they have to be done very lightly. So these are in pure orange and kind of like stay back here. Okay, so now we do the vegetation on these trees. And with all this red, we just build around it. Don't worry because we're gonna blend all this in later. So I'm making this shape going kind of around where the tree is. Not like a circle, but like um, I still want these trees, sorry, mountains to be seen. So I'll go down here and up. This is just a style, you know. I like to explain. This will continue because there's more trees that continue to our right, even if you don't see them. But the idea is that this pattern that I'm doing continues to go kind of around where the trees are, and then later you'll still see them, but they're gonna blend in a little more um, to the entire body of the trees and everything. See, I'll probably make this edge dark, not darker, like more busy with this, like the edge of the limit, more busy over here. And then make another one, like about here. Sorry, make another thick area here. So we got this one that I'm circling here, right? The outline. Then another one here. Let's see how this is getting like thicker, this area. And maybe another little one here that is like thicker. That's all it is. I'm gonna wait a little, and after we wait, we're gonna kind of go and with a brush and kind of blend in a little this because we still want to see the sky a little bit behind, but we're gonna go and we still want to see these petals that um, we created. Okay, now we take a brush, clean, wet, I'm dipping it with water, and make a circle about where the orange is, not the white, the orange. We make a circle here. And take tissue or a napkin. Sorry, make sure you got tissue or a napkin ready. And pick that up. It's not gonna work on my paper because it has given in a little, I guess. But the idea is to collect the paint that was there. Oops. That brush wasn't clean well. And this paper hasn't been helping me. Sorry. So my circle here is going to turn out to be a little more bluish, but if you, anyway, I'll leave it like that, what happened here. But the idea is, you know what I'm going to do to fix it? I'm going to wait for it to dry and I'm going to make a orange circle. But the idea that I was trying to do is to actually make it white by picking up the paint. And it didn't work out because my paper is not too thick. It is watercolor paper, but it's not thick enough, so it's giving in. And yeah, so what we could do now is define some of these um, trunks here that we want to be able to actually see that stem away from the ground now that this is dry. And maybe a little more reddish. We do like a letter S, very white letter S here. Watch. And what this represents, guess what does it represent? It's like a trail or a little stream. I said very wide because That's what makes it look like it's winding. See? But it's still, even though it looks reddish, it's still orange. It's just a dark orange. All right. I'm going to start preparing my yellowish orange down here. So we got orange. Oh no. And I'm going to pick up some yellow. And this is good. And we're going to do our sun, our yellowish orange. All right. So now I take a brush, clean. You know, that was a always make sure your brushes are very well clean at the end, because if you pick it up for the next time you're painting and you don't check, because we're not usually checking when we start painting, it's the time when you're done where you really want to clean them well. If you don't clean them well, that brush is going to carry a color, maybe dark blue, and then even if it's a little, it could damage your painting. You're going to have to clean up that color that you didn't expect that was there. So I'm gonna wet a brush. I'm not gonna put color, it's just wet. Maybe take some of that wetness away and start rubbing it a little in our petal, in our leaves, in our orange leaves. What that does is just puts orange between our leaves. It takes from the orange of the leaves and spread that color. Basically, is what we're doing. Does that make sense? You see that everything became a tiny little bit more richer because we're spraying the color of the leaves that we painted already there. There you go. So you still see the leaves, right? You still see the leaves, but now they're a little more spread out. Does that make sense? At first they were very distinguished because in between them there was only white paper. But now this by scrubbing them you still see them, but their color that they had spread out in between them. I may need more petals on here. And now spreading them, but I have to wait a little. What I could do in the meantime is kind of sign it a little. But I'm not gonna sign it. It could be maybe done in the back because I don't want to mess up what's happening here or here. You could always sign it in the back. It's fine. Um, if your piece is small or your signature will really affect, and you cannot blend in your signature, you could always sign it in the back or the side. All right, I'm gonna. This is maybe not yet entirely dry, but I'm still gonna spread the last petals that I put here, and that's it. This is it. We could always define, sorry, or outline our sun a little even more. I'm just outlining it, and this is our painting. So we did three chrono, sorry, monochromatic painting. This was orange, and it's very warm, um, small in a vertical way. And this was the third one we did. There is this one, which was also vertical, which we use green. It's a little bit more towards the right of the paper also. And if you notice, there's bluish green to kind of darken it, and there's yellowish green to create some type of contrast. But it's like the edge of a shore in a forest or something. And I could cut it here, right here. So this is not isolated. This should not be isolated. Well, we could cut it like right there, so it looks like this continuous. That's the effect that we actually want. So I could actually fix that right now. Um, I don't know. Let's see. All right. So we did this one, and then we also did the blue one, which was horizontal. And here you learn, you see this little white line to distinguish between the reflection and the darkness of the reflection when it starts at the edge and the actual darkness of the forest that starts there. We need to distinguish with this line. And that teaches us that many times we may have to, in watercolor, use the paper, the whiteness of the paper to deline something, so define them. And I don't know if you notice up here on the birds, but I did the effect that I just told you, where we wet that area in a circle and picked up the blue that was already there, and it creates like the sun. So where I'm pointing here, this white circle is the sun or the moon, depending on the time of the day. You can barely see it, and that's the effect that we wanted in this one, that you could barely see it. The way we did the mountains in this one, instead of filling them up with the same tone light, it was just the edge, and it became white. Edge, and it became white, blended. This is just the green of the pine trees in the back. You see, very lightly defined. I'm talking about the what's behind, not the ones in front, the ones behind. And in the one we did today is a more chunky mountains filled with color. So you see how this is warm and this is cold. And green is a little cold too. It could be a color red, but it's more neutral. All right. So yeah, you guys, if you did all three, you have a little collection there of monochromatic paintings, which means we only use one color. And the color, if you notice, is color we could pull, maybe make the green a little more yellowish, or make the green a little more bluish to darken. Um, but these are good practices, and actually, in general, paints that let us control tones, which is how light or dark our colors are, and that's how we define things. And then as you get better, you could add more colors in paintings, but you already know how to manage and control tonality. Great. I hope you enjoy and have a great rest of the day. You could always go back and watch those videos. They are in this channel. Um, or go back to watch this one and do this again. Um, all right. Thank you.